On Saturday, the 28th of June, or at 3 a.m. on the 29th, if you're watching from Britain, Ilia Topuria is going to be moving up a weight class and making his lightweight debut, challenging Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. So to start with a quick overview of the fighters, both of them are coming into this fight with very different careers up to this point, with Topuria possessing a record of 16 wins and no losses, whilst Charles has a record of 35 and 10. But when we look at how these fighters got their wins, both of them have surprisingly similar ratios, with only 2 of Topuria's and 4 of Oliveira's wins coming via decision, giving both fighters a finish rate approaching 90%. For Topuria, 6 of these have came by knockout and 10 of them for Oliveira. Now everyone knows that Charles Oliveira is a massive submission threat on the ground, with 21 of his wins coming by submission. But what a lot of people don't recognise is that Topuria has won 50% of his fights by submission. He comes from a jiu-jitsu background, and although he hasn't utilised this much in the UFC, other than an armbar victory over Bryce Mitchell, he actually started his professional career with a 7-fight submission streak, 6 of which came within the first round. So now if we look at their last 5 fights, obviously Topuria has won all of his and has been finishing everyone's favourite fighters with big knockouts over Holloway and Volkanovski, who've been dominating at the top of the division since 2019 and have both also had very strong performances at lightweight. And the only one of Topuria's last 5 able to take in the distance was Josh Emmett, who lost a very one-sided decision. Whereas Charles Oliveira has had more mixed results in his last 5 performances, beating Michael Chandler by decision in his last fight, but in the fight before that losing a split decision to Arman Tsarukyan, and in the fight before that finishing Beneil Dariush by ground and pound in round 1, but before that getting dropped and then submitted in a dominant performance by Islam Makhachev, and in the fight before that beating Justin Gaethje by submission. So who is going to win? I think at this point you have to pick Topuria by knockout, and he's probably going to continue his streak of finishing fan favourites. I just can't see a path to victory for Charles. Topuria is going to hold a massive advantage on the feet, particularly within the boxing range, where he can utilise his combinations and land big strikes. And if his crazy power transfers well from featherweight up a weight class, that will be a massive problem for Oliveira, as we've seen him dropped multiple times in the past, and likely does not have the best chin. Even with his 5-inch reach advantage, I can't see him having much success on the feet, with Ilia being a much more technically sound striker, and I doubt that he will have much difficulty closing the distance and getting into that boxing range where he can dominate the fight. The only area where Oliveira has a slight chance is on the ground, but when 2 guys with strong jiu-jitsu backgrounds meet, it's very rare that we see a submission. They'll generally cancel each other out, and even if Oliveira does have a better submission game, it likely won't be a big enough of a gap to submit Topuria. And on top of that, Oliveira doesn't have the best takedown game. He's good, but his takedowns won't be able to cause the same kind of problems for Topuria that somebody like Islam would be able to pose. Charles just simply does not have the wrestling ability to consistently beat Topuria to his hips and bring the fight to the ground often enough for this to be a valid path to victory for him. There might be 1 or 2 minutes of total ground time throughout the entire fight, but I think it will be mainly fought on the feet, and Oliveira is going to be stuck there with a much more technical and much more powerful striker. Therefore, my official prediction is Topuria by TKO in round 3.